People tend to confuse Alzheimer's disease with normal aging a whole lot, and that can be pretty dangerous because there are a lot of tools that are available for Alzheimer's disease that people aren't aware of. And when they have those tools, they're better able to manage the symptoms and all the different things that come as a result of Alzheimer's disease. We talk about 10 signs that are warning signs for Alzheimer's disease. The first one we talk about is memory loss that disrupts daily life. Memory loss is one of the first things people tend to recognize. They'll be repeating a lot of questions. They're not developing their short-term memory as well. With regular aging, it can be something as simple as forgetting someone's name once in a while, forgetting an appointment once in a while, but able to remember it later on. Number 2, challenges in planning or solving problems. If they have plans, especially if they're still working, they have a much harder time if they have dementia going through their plans. You know, occasionally we have a hard time as we age, but it's a lot more challenging when it comes to dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Number 3, difficulty completing familiar tasks. A person who's been making the same, pot pie for years and years and years, decades, suddenly she doesn't remember how to make it anymore. And this was something that was second nature to her. That's usually not as big an issue for somebody with regular aging. Another one, number 4, is confusion with time or place. They might start thinking that it's June when it's actually the middle of December, or completely forget what decade it is. Often what we see with Alzheimer's disease is that they start thinking that they're back into their 20s or 30s, and they expect to have like a younger husband and young children, and not the adult grown children that they have now. This is not really something that we tend to see with regular aging. Number 5, trouble understanding visual images or spatial relationships. So this is one of the reasons why when somebody has Alzheimer's disease, they have a harder time with driving because they're not able to tell how far something is as much, and there are more risk of getting into accidents. When it comes to driving for regular aging, occasionally there can be a little error here and there, maybe accidentally swipe your car, but this is something that's a lot more consistent. Number 6, new problems with words in speaking or writing. Something like simple that you have like a watch, starting to call it hand clock because it can't remember what the actual word is. With regular aging, you might forget a word here and there, but usually you're able to recall it. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace step. This is the 7th one, and this is where a lot of suspicion and accusations can occur with somebody who has dementia or Alzheimer's disease. That can cause a lot of problems within families, especially if they haven't been diagnosed. With regular aging, occasionally we might put things in the wrong place, just being a little absent-minded, but we're able to recognize that, oh, I just misplaced it. Number 8, decreased or poor judgment. There have been cases where people were just writing checks away, falling for telemarketers, deciding that whatever was on the infomercial was something that they really needed and everybody around them needed. With regular aging, usually you're able to recover from it. You're able to recognize that, oh, this was a mistake. 9, withdrawal from work or social activities. It's a lot more difficult for someone with Alzheimer's disease to actually be around social gatherings or even be working anymore. They have a harder time following conversations, they can't really understand what's happening, and so they tend to withdraw from those situations. And lastly, changes in moods and personalities. We can only imagine all the things that they might be experiencing. We might see a lot of depression, anxiety, frustration, anger, and all these things can be overwhelming for them. With aging, this might happen once in a while as well, but it's not as drastic. And if even 1 or 2 or 3 of the symptoms that I've talked about are resonating with you, you know yourself best, and that's why we want you to do some self-reflection and figure out what you think is best, and always talk to your doctor.